and I'll tell you about it. But in 2024, Turning Point's grassroots army helped us win Arizona in an absolute landslide. We won this one. We won all 7 swing states. We won the Electoral College 312 to 226. We won the popular vote by millions of votes, and we won, and that's the first time in decades that a Republican, I don't know what that's all about, won the popular vote, but we won by a lot, and we won 86% of all counties. Now think of that, counties. To me, that's the biggest of all, most important of all. 86% of all counties in America, 2,700 to 525. That's called a landslide. And I want to thank everybody at Turning Point Action who's working tirelessly to help us get out the vote this November 3rd. And I especially want to thank all of the executives and Erica Kirk in particular. Thank you. This will be a great and brilliant day for the world, because Iran has just announced that the Strait of Hormuz is fully open and ready for business and full passage. But the naval blockade, with the greatest navy in the world, from the greatest military the world has ever seen, we built it. During my first term, we built it. They said I was crazy. We weren't so crazy, were we? Will remain in full force and effect as it pertains to Iran until such time as our transaction with Iran is 100% complete and fully signed. And this process, we're getting along well, but who knows with anyone, but who knows with Iran in particular. This process should go very quickly, and that most of the points are already negotiated and agreed to. You'll be very happy. The USA will get all nuclear dust. You know what the nuclear dust is? That was that white powdery substance created by our B-2 bombers, those great B-2 bombers, late one evening, 7 months ago. No money will exchange hands in any way, shape, or form. Iran will be, and you know how we're going to get the dust, right? Iran, we were going to take it anyway, but taking it that way is slightly more dangerous, but we were going to get it anyway. But Iran, with the help of the USA, has removed or is removing all of the sea mines, and most importantly, it never agreed, and you'll understand, they will never have a nuclear weapon. They will never have a nuclear weapon. And somebody said, how are we going to get the nuclear dust? We're going to get it by going in with Iran, with lots of excavators, because the B-2s, remember when fake news CNN said, well, maybe obliteration is too strong a word, obliteration. That's so deep. We need the biggest excavators you can imagine, but we're going to go in together with Iran, we're going to get it, and we're going to take it back home to the USA. Very simple. And now that the Hormuz Strait situation is almost over, I received a call from NATO asking if we would like some help. Thank you very much, NATO. And I told them I would have liked your help 2 months ago, but now I really don't want your help anymore. Because they were absolutely useless when we needed them. But actually, we never needed them. They needed us. They need us. They need us so badly. You know, it's a little bit like if you're a politician. It's hard to believe I'm a politician, but after I won, people came up to me, sir, I'd like to make a major contribution to your campaign. And I said, listen, just so you understand, campaign contributions after I won don't count. Okay? They don't count. And NATO, after we won, that doesn't count either. It's the same thing. But you have to remember that, because we spend hundreds of billions of dollars a year. We spend money. We spend, I would say, in many cases, close to $1 trillion over a couple of years, $1 trillion to help them. And we're always helping them. And this was just a military excursion. This isn't the big time. You know, we built a military so great. I'm so proud of it. It's one of the, including Space Force. You know, you see all of that. When you see those rockets go one, look up there, there's Space Force. We all created Space Force. It didn't exist. We were losing to China and to Russia in space, and now we're so far ahead of them both, you wouldn't believe it. But yesterday, on top of it all, we achieved what everyone said was impossible, an unprecedented ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon, and that hasn't taken place in 78 years. 78 years. Our deal with Iran is not in any way tied to Lebanon, but we will make Lebanon great again. I mean, it's about time we did so. We've sort of, the world has forgotten them, and they're good people who have lived like hell for a long period of time, and hopefully the situation with Hezbollah will get straightened out quickly. But I want to thank the country of Pakistan and its great prime minister and its great field marshal. He's our great field marshal. Two fantastic people for helping. They really are terrific people. And I also want to thank Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. They've been amazing. They've all helped tremendously, tremendously. And it took courage for them. Not easy, not easy. They were living with what they call the bully of the Middle East. They had the bully. Iran was the bully of the Middle East. They're not the bully anymore. With the help of everyone here today, this has been by far the most successful first year of any administration in the history of our country, acknowledged by everybody. To begin with, I ended 8 wars. And it may be a little early to say this, but if we add Iran and Lebanon, that will be 10 wars ended and many, many millions of lives saved. Think of how many lives we've saved. Starting on day one, we ended the illegal invasion of America. That's an invasion by criminals, many, many criminals, murderers, drug dealers, prisoners. They emptied out their prisons into our country. And we took the most dangerous, unsafe, violent, and open border and created the most secure border in U.S. history, one of the most secure borders anywhere in the world, with 0 illegal aliens coming into our country in the past 11 months. 0. And in 2025, we achieved the largest drop in violent crime ever recorded. That's despite all of these people that came into our country. Many of them are now gone, I'm pleased to tell you. The murder rate, isn't it a terrible thing to be talking about murder rate? But you got to say it. At least if it's good news. I guess it's good news. But the murder rate reached the lowest level in over 125 years. 1900. The year 1900, before my father was born. My father was great. Before he was born, the flow of deadly fentanyl pouring across our border is down by an astounding 59%. And as you probably noticed, if you watch the news, illegal drugs coming in by ocean or sea are down by 97%. 97. And we're trying to find out who the 3% is, because I consider them to be perhaps the bravest people anywhere in the world. Boom. Or they don't watch television or something. We passed the largest tax cuts in American history, the largest spending cuts in American history, the largest regulation cuts in American history, and the largest investment in border security in the history of our country. And starting my first day in office, we banned the transgender mutilation of our children. And we made it the official policy of the United States of America that there are only 2 genders, male and female. That was easy. Could you imagine if I was up here 20 years ago or 15 years ago, probably 12 years ago, and I said, there are only two genders, male and female. People would say, what the hell is he saying that for? Is he crazy? That's got to be the worst speech I've ever heard. Why is he saying that? Or why is he saying that we got men out of women's sports? Can you imagine saying that 15 years ago? 15 years ago, if you said, and we got men out of women's sports, the audience would say, what's wrong with that guy? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And we got critical race theory out of our schools. And we abolished DEI across the entire federal government. And we eliminated so-called affirmative action in federal contracting and university admissions. If you get great marks and have great scores, and your boards are good, everything's good, you're getting in. People can't go before. We have a country now that, again, is based on merit. That's the way we became great. But we have to win the midterms, and all of these things, it'll stay with us forever. But if we don't win the midterms, I said it during my State of the Union speech when I interviewed and talked to some people backstage. I said, you know, I'd like to have some of these people called out for their greatness. And we gave out, as you know, that night, the Congressional Medal of Honor to a young man who was flying a helicopter with practically his legs shot off. And he landed in Venezuela perfectly with a lot of men on board, like 48. And if that goes down, the Venezuela incredible attack, nobody killed, hundreds of millions of barrels of oil taken out. The relationship with Venezuela is great. We're working, it's like a great partnership. But if that doesn't happen, we looked at the Democrats. Not one was clapping. Medal of Honor. Then we interviewed a mother, a beautiful mother, whose daughter was slashed from behind by a maniac. She could hardly stand. It was 8 months ago. She could hardly stand, crying uncontrollably. Not one Democrat was clapping. Then we introduced a war hero from 100 years. He was 101 years old. Gave him the Congressional Medal of Honor for his great heroics. Wasn't recognized until I came along. Not one Democrat clapped. Not one Democrat clapped. And now they don't want to pay our border security, and they don't want to pay our great patriots of ICE. You know, ICE is a tough job. You got those murders that they allowed into our country. Think of it. Thousands of murders came into our country. 11,888, 50% of whom killed more than one person. These are violent criminals, and ICE is tough. And I don't want that job, and most of you don't either. I have a couple of friends in the front row, and they're tough people, but they're not that tough. They don't want that job. And if we don't have ICE, and if we don't have our great Border Patrol, and if we don't have our great policemen, and all of these people, they're incredible. They keep our country great. They keep our country safe. And the Democrats want to defund them. They want to defund ICE. They want ICE terminated. And you know, whether you're liberal, conservative, doesn't matter. Democrat, Republican, independent, it's crazy. And I looked at them as we went through about 7 moments when you had to clap, and they didn't. I said, these people are crazy. They're crazy. And you know, I don't know if you noticed, the word was passed to them from people that were watching, I guess, on television, maybe standing backstage. They said, this guy is killing you. Start clapping. And the last half hour, they were clapping for everything I said. They were clapping for everything, things they shouldn't have been clapping for, because they heard they were getting killed. Just remember that night. That night was a very telling night. And we don't want to go back to that. We don't want open borders where millions of people pour into our country. We want to have safe borders. We want people coming into our country, but they want to come in, and we have to have them come in legally. Very simple. So I signed a historic executive order starting the process of shutting down the Federal Department of Education and sending education back to the states. Thank you, Linda McMahon. Linda McMahon. You know, education, move back to the states where it should be. You don't want to have a bureaucrat from Washington who couldn't care less about your community telling you how to educate your child. You have your local boards and your parent groups. One thing, I know you love your children. I'm not sure that they do. But we've largely removed education. We just did it. Just move them back. You know, we're supposed to go through a long process. Thank you, by the way, to Linda McMahon. She's been fantastic. Been fantastic. And we removed over 300,000 bureaucrats from federal payrolls. They had sometimes 10, 11, 12 people to do one job, and they just sit there. And you know what? I have a lot of respect for whatever. But you can't run a country like that. You can't, as the expression goes, has anyone ever heard of it? Make America great again. You can't make America great again when you do that. So we've done that, and you know, many of those people are very happy because right now more people are working in the United States than at any time in the history of our country. And many of those people that had these boring, lousy jobs where they weren't even jobs. Federal government, they went out, they got jobs in the private sector because we have the most people working that we've ever had before. And they're making more money and enjoying their job. It's sort of an amazing phenomenon. After decades of other countries stealing our jobs and plundering our wealth, thanks to our strong policy on tariffs, we cut our gaping trade deficit. Now, if you do 1%, you're considered like a genius. If you do 2 or 3%, it's unheard of. We cut it by 59% this year, our trade gap. It's the largest drop of a trade gap. Think of it. It's the largest drop in history, the history of our country. 59%. Can you believe it? So if you're a genius with 1%, and really a super genius at 3. What are you with 59? I don't know. As part of our tax cuts, we delivered, a lot of you benefited by this, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. You know, the great big beautiful bill is really the great big beautiful tax cut bill, but it was also, we gave you the right to deduct your interest payments on a car loan, but only if it's made in the USA. That's been incredible. You never had that right before. And this week, millions of Americans received the largest tax refunds of their lives. The average is more than $4,000 per filer. Think of that. So nobody knew this was going to happen, but now they're getting their refunds back, and they're much larger than I said. In other words, I under-exaggerated, which is good. And in 4 long years, Sleepy Joe Biden, have you heard of him? What a president, what a disaster. But the whole party, it was the party. He didn't run the country. The people surrounding the Resolute desk in the Oval Office, they ran the party. Radical left lunatics. But in 4 long years, Sleepy Joe Biden got less than $1 trillion invested in our country, much less. And in 12 months, so think of it, 4 years, ours is 12 months, and it's actually 11 because we haven't gotten the last month. So in 11 months versus, think of that, versus 4 years, they did less than $1 trillion. In 11 months, we did $18 trillion of new investments coming into our country. And that's a record for any country anywhere in the world by a lot. And the king of Saudi Arabia told me when I was in Saudi Arabia, they invested $2 trillion in our country. But he looked at me, he said, you know, Mr. President, a short time ago, we viewed the United States as a dead country. We thought it was dead. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And he's right, the hottest country anywhere in the world. For years before I took office, people thought that America was in decline, that our best days were in the past, and that the sun was setting on American power. But no one thinks that anymore, because we are indeed the strongest, the hottest, the best country anywhere in the world. And you know what? Nobody laughs at us anymore. They were laughing. They thought we were a laughing mess. Under this administration, America is on the march, and America is on the rise like we haven't seen maybe ever before. We are respected again as a country, and we're respected at levels that nobody thought possible. Unlike past leaders, this administration does not apologize for American power. We are not ashamed of American might, and we do not hesitate to defend the American people, which is what we've been doing for the last 2 months, because Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. For years, we were ruled by fools who let every third-rate country push us around and bleed us dry on trade and everything else they could get away with. They took advantage of us on trade. Not any more than that. But those days are over, and they're gone forever. America was not founded by weak and timid men who cowered in the face of evil or sat by as danger loomed and let our country go to hell. We are descended from the likes of George Washington, Andrew Jackson, Generals Ulysses S. Grant, Douglas MacArthur, General George Patton. Our ancestors knew exactly what to do with America's enemies. Beat them, and beat them good. That's what they had to do. That's what they had to do. And if NATO teaches us any one thing, and I hope you all watched, because they weren't there for us, if it teaches us any one thing, we have to rely on ourselves. We can't rely on outside countries and outside sources. So do not listen to the craven and cowardly voices who tell you America needs to think small or to shrink from our duties or potential. Most people, they wanted to, this recent situation, they wanted to do it, but they said, oh, let's not get involved. Sometimes you have to get involved. You have no choice but to get involved. If you're going to remain great, sometimes you have to get involved. Remember, I'm the peacemaker. I'm the one that settled 8 wars. I settled a war that would have killed 30 to 50 million people. India, Pakistan. You have to sometimes get involved. We are the inheritors of the most incredible civilization that has ever existed, and our task is to defend it. We have to defend it. Past leaders used our wealth and power to make other countries rich and treated our military like a charity for the world while getting barely a word of thanks in return. Nobody thanks us. They don't say, oh, thank you so much. They don't thank us. They think we're stupid. That's really what it is. They don't thank us. Now, we're using American strength to advance American interests for American citizens and to ensure that we remain the most dominant country on the face of the earth, which we're doing at levels that nobody can believe, actually. Every branch of our armed forces is setting new recruitment records that nobody thought would be possible, because everyone wants to be a part of the greatest military the world has ever seen. In January, our warriors flew straight into the heart of the Venezuelan capital, captured the outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro, and brought him to face American justice, which is what he's doing right now. And very soon, this great strength will also bring about a day, 70 years in waiting. It's called A New Dawn for Cuba. We're going to help them out with Cuba. We have a lot of great Cuban Americans. Not too many people in this audience, I don't think, but you go to Miami, we have people, Cuban Americans, people that were brutally treated, whose families were killed and brutalized. And now, watch what happens. Under this governing philosophy, instead of locking down our energy resources and putting ourselves at the mercy of those that hate us. And they hate us, and they don't respect us, but they do now. We are unleashing our own supplies with those really beautiful words. Perhaps you've heard them before. Drill, baby, drill, right? And because of that, we now produce more oil than Russia and Saudi Arabia combined, and very soon that number will more than double. That's pretty good. In addition, our new partner, Venezuela. Venezuela's been great, really doing a good job over there, is adding very substantially to that number. Likewise, instead of using our wealth to throw open our borders and feed, house, clothe, and police the entire world, we're restoring the principle that America's immigration policies must serve the best interests of America and its great citizens. It's called America First. It's very simple, America First. And we'll help other countries, but we have to view it as America First. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country left. At this moment, Democrats have shut down the Department of Homeland Security to shield the world's most heinous and violent criminals from deportation. They want to keep them in our country. They have a murderer, killed many people. They want to keep him in our country. They're fighting very hard to keep him here. There's something, I'm telling you, there's something wrong with these people. They want to protect deranged monsters like the illegal alien from Haiti, who recently beat a mother of two to death with a hammer at a Florida gas station for all to see. It was all on tape. You saw it just a week ago. Last month, a migrant criminal with 15 prior charges and 4 prior deportations threw an 83-year-old veteran onto the subway tracks in New York City, killing him instantly as he got run over by a subway train. Threw him in. It's all on tape. Democrats want to protect him. They want to protect criminal aliens. Republicans want to put them in jail or ideally deport them as long as they never come back. And under my leadership, we ended asylum fraud. We ended all catch and release. We stopped third world migration. We suspended all refugee resettlement except for persecuted South Africans. They're being persecuted. In South Africa, there's a very horrible thing going on in South Africa. It's a genocide. It's a horrible thing. And we made it possible for these people to come into our country. They kill people if they're white, if you're a white person. And I'll tell you what, I did great with the black vote, the African-American vote, and they understand this better than anybody. South Africa, they kill white farmers. And we said, you come into our country and we let you come in. You get a green card and you get a passport. You can stay in our country. Terrible, terrible. We can't let it go on. No, we don't have to talk about it. People don't like talking about it. You know, New York Times wrote a story about it years ago. That was the only story they ever wrote, because I'm sure the reporter got fired immediately. But we've deported a record number of criminal aliens, a record. Nobody's ever seen the numbers like this. And for the first time in more than 50 years, we now have reverse migration, a beautiful thing, actually. And just imagine where our country would be today if instead of spending trillions of dollars on illegal migrants who come into our country illegally and spending it on the Green New Scam, one of the greatest scams in history, remember? Climate change, global warming, all of this. They actually had global warming. Remember that wasn't working because we were actually cooling as a planet. Then they had another one and another one and another one, and they were wrong. And then they just said, climate change, because climate change takes care of heat, snow, whatever you have. But past leaders had used American wealth and power to raise our civilization to brand new heights. This is the choice for every voter. In the midterms, Democrats want to drag America down, destroy our country, put it into crime, poverty, and squalor. Really the squalor of a third world nation. We would have been, if I didn't win this election, within a short period of time, we would have been a third world nation. Hard to believe, isn't it, huh? Republicans want to build America up into a nation with no rivals in human history, to make your family safer and wealthier than ever before. We're making your family safe. We're making you safe. So if you want a poor and weak America, a country that's riddled with crime, death, disease, and nothing but problems, you should immediately vote Democrat. If you want a rich and strong and a country that you're going to be proud of, America, you must go out in the midterms and vote Republican. We need that. And I was going to say that when a president wins, Republican or Democrat, for some reason they lose the midterms often, most of the time. It doesn't make sense. Even if you have a president who's doing a good job, and I think I'm doing the best job of anybody, really, I do. But when you add it all up, when you add it all up, nobody's done what we've done. But for some reason, a president, Republican, Democrat, the party does poorly in the midterms. It doesn't make sense. I'm still trying to figure it out. We'll go out, I think, probably hire a couple of psychiatrists. What the hell is going on in your mind? How does that happen? Because it should be the opposite. We're doing well. We're doing our job. We're ending wars all over the place. By the way, with the exception of our little excursion, and wait till you see prices fall. Did you see oil is down today and prices are down today? But we inherited the highest prices in the history of our country. We inherited that, and then we worked on it, and what a job we've done, and we took inflation way down. We inherited the worst inflation in history, and what a job. But we had to put out that flame. We had to put out that horrible fire, really, that was taking place in Iran. We had to do it. Otherwise, you want to see a problem? Give them a nuclear weapon. They'd use it the first day. You want to see a problem? They would use it the first day. It's not going to happen. So we're thrilled to be joined today by many incredible Arizona leaders who will help achieve this victory, including candidates for Congress, a lot of great athletes running. I don't know what this is. Jay Feely, great kicker, great athlete. Where's Jay? Jay Feely. Where's Jay? Wherever you are, Jay. Hi, Jay. Great athletes. A sheriff who I've been friends with for a long time, Sheriff Mark Lamb. Sheriff. Good to see you, Sheriff. Got the look, right? I want to get one of those hats, Sheriff. Tell me where. Tell me where you got it. I wouldn't have to worry about my hair. I could just put that. I hear you're doing great in the polls, Sheriff, too. Representatives Juan Ciscomani, Paul Gosar, Abe Hamadeh, Eli Crane, and a really good friend of mine who's running for governor, who should win. He's great. Andy Biggs. Where's Andy? You better win, Andy. I hate to lose him from Congress. You want to know? You know, I'm sort of torn with Andy. I hate to lose him, but he'll be a great governor. Arizona GOP Chair Sergio Moreno. Sergio. Thank you, Sergio. Great job you're doing. Thank you. Thank you for all the help. Arizona Senate President Warren Peterson. Warren. Thank you, Warren. Thank you. Popular, Warren, very popular. Treasurer Kimberly Yee. Thank you, Kimberly. Good job. State Representative Alex Collodin. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, I can't believe it. I love this guy. So popular. A man, he's probably in his 50s, early 50s, but he's been around a long time, much longer than that. He's a special person. There was no border problem when he was here. Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Where are you? Sheriff Joe. Where's Sheriff Joe? You know, he came out for me when I was running, and I heard about him. He was sort of a legendary guy. There were no border problems, right? We had no border problems, and he endorsed me right at the beginning, Joe, right long before you saw any of the politicians that were running against. It was 18 people running, and they said, you know, Sheriff Joe endorsed you. I said, you mean from Arizona? A legend? Yeah, he endorsed you before I even started practically. Thank you very much, Joe, and I've been with you all the way. Thank you. Appreciate it. Along with a special friend of mine and married to one of the greats, Rush Limbaugh, Catherine Limbaugh. Thank you, Catherine. She's a great woman. And a veteran Border Patrol agent who's been a fantastic friend of me and the campaign and all of the things, Art Del Cueto. Art, wherever you are, Art. And, you know, we have a lot of athletes, and I sort of think of myself, I'm sort of big. Sometimes in the wrong direction, maybe, but big. These guys are really big. Ryan Thompson of the Arizona Diamondbacks is a terrific player. We have a World Series champion. I met him today, and I said, you were a hell of a hitter. And really was a great player and could be probably still a great player. Looks good. World Series champion, Mark Grace. Mark? What a good hitter. And what about this guy? World Series MVP. Remember the blood pouring out of his foot? It didn't bother him at all. That blood was pouring the hell out of his foot. I remember it. Curt Schilling. Curt. Thank you. Thank you. And they're all characters, too, aren't they? It's really amazing. We like characters. Hockey Hall of Famer and a great golfer, I can tell you that. He's really a good golfer, Jeremy Roenick. Jeremy. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, man. What a good golfer he is, too, but probably a little better at hockey, but, you know, he's supposed to be. NASCAR great. Danica Patrick. Danica? Where's Danica? Where's Danica? I love Danica. I love her hair. I always liked her hair. I like the little widow's peak. You know the widow's peak? Danica, where are you, Danica? So great. Thank you, darling. What a job you've done. What a job you did. Former NBA All-Star, Tom Chambers. Tom, there's a big guy. I didn't want my picture next to him. He stood up. I said, is that Tom Chambers? Yeah. I said, well, let's take it. I'll stand on this side of the room. Tom, stand up. What a job you've done. Great job, Tom. Everyone loves you, too. Arizona sports legend, John Gambadoro. John Gambadoro. Thank you, John. Gambo. Good job. And a lot more. We have a lot of celebrities here, but with your help, we'll continue to deliver on our mandate from the American people like no president has ever delivered before. That's what we're doing. We have a mandate, you know. They said if we could win 3 or 4 of the swing states, that would be incredible. Because it's a little harder for a Republican for some reason. I'll tell you what the reason is: they cheat. That's actually the reason. They cheat like hell. Remember I got out, I said, make it too big to rig, right? Too big to rig. Don't believe the polls. The polls had us way up. Don't believe the polls. Too big to rig. We made it too big to rig. Just keep going. If no matter what you see, go out and vote. And we made it too big to rig. But they say if I won 3 or 4 of the swing states, that should do it. And we won all 7, right? All 7 of the swing states. As you remember, I recently directed the Secretary of War. How good is Pete Hegseth doing, by the way? To begin releasing government files relating to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. And I figured this was a good crowd because I know you people, you're really into that. I don't know if I am, but So I'm pleased to report today, I thought I'd save it for this crowd, because you're a little bit out there, you know, a little bit, that this process is well underway, and we found many very interesting documents, I must say, and the first releases will begin very, very soon, so you can go out and see if that phenomena is correct. You'll figure it out. Let me know. Let me know. But we've had a lot of questions. It's something that really captivates the mind. There's no question about it. With your support, we will crush violent crime, impose harsh new penalties for repeat offenders. I mean, we have people that have been taken in 28 times. We have some 28 times, and they let them go out 2 days later. Crack down on Marxist prosecutors and rogue judges. The judges are horrible. Add deadly sanctuary cities in our country and end no cash bail, which really started it all. No cash bail is a disaster. Somebody shoots somebody, they go in, they just let them out. Then they go shoot somebody else the same day. We will stop the radical left Democrats' rampant looting of your taxpayer dollars, and we will win the war on fraud, which is being headed by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance. We're going to win it. We're going to win it. I said, J.D., I want that job. I want that job. It's so bad. You look at Minnesota, you look at California, you look at some of these states, it's so bad. Maine, believe it or not, is terrible. Maine, who would think Maine so bad? But we're right on their ass. We're right on their ass. And we will pass the great health care plan. We call it the great health care plan, to stop all payments to big insurance companies and give the money. What we want to do is this. We want the insurance companies to be cut out. We want our government not to pay trillions of dollars to insurance companies, to pay that same amount of money directly to the people, directly, and you go out and buy your own health care. And everybody likes it. The problem is the Democrats don't like it because they're owned by the insurance companies. So they vote no, no. But we're going to get it done one way or the other. We will make most favored nation discounts on drug prices permanent law. So I got you drug reductions on prescription drugs, most favored nation. You know what that means? That means we pay the lowest of any nation in the world. When I got into office, we paid the highest of any nation in the world. I got the nations to agree because I threatened them with tariffs if they don't do it. And I got the insurance companies, I got the drug companies to do it. So your drug prices are going to be reduced by 60, 70, 80, and in some cases even more than 80%. Nobody has ever done that. And that alone should win us the midterm, but it won't, because nobody wants to write. The fake news doesn't want to write about it. It's unbelievable. With the help of our Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., we will make America healthy again. MAHA. Has anyone ever heard of MAHA? We will make America healthy again. He's doing a great job, Bobby. And Dr. Oz is doing a great job. Already we eliminated petroleum-based food dyes, reformed the vaccine schedule, and introduced the real food pyramid. We're cleaning up the whole mess. It's a mess. And to help young people afford a house, we will permanently ban Wall Street from buying up thousands and thousands of single-family homes and taking them off the plate. And we will pass the Save America Act to protect our sacred American election. Where all voters must show voter ID, little things like that. All voters must show proof of citizenship. How about that? Who would think? It's a 97% issue, and the Democrats are holding it back. 97. It's 87% with Republicans and Democrats, so even Democrats want it. But the politicians don't want Democrats, because when you have policy as bad as they have, like men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody, open borders where people come in totally unvetted, just walk into our country, and criminals all over the world. When you have the only way you can win is to cheat. Really, I really believe that. So they don't want to have voter ID. They don't want to have proof of citizenship. But we'll get it. We're going to get it. And no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. Mail-in ballots are a big fraud. It's a big fraud. The mail-in vote is a big fraud, and we will also add into permanent statutes a very simple thing called no men in women's sports and no transgender mutilization surgery for your children. We're putting that in. We're putting that in because I call them best of. Do you know what best of? Best of Trump. Can you believe it? Best of Trump. Men can. Did you ever see the weightlifting records? For 18 years, the record stood, held by a young woman who was quite strong. It was like 212 pounds. That's a lot. It stood for 18 years. And then a young man decided to go the opposite route. And he wanted to become a young woman. And he transitioned. And he was a failed weightlifter in the men's division. But as a woman, he was brutal. And he broke the record. Remember, this is a record that stood for 18 years. They'd put an eighth of an ounce here, an eighth of an ounce here. For 18 years, they couldn't quite do it. He broke the record by 112 pounds. Or the swimming records. Or the long-distance running records. You could go short distance also. Did you see recently there was a long-distance race? It went on forever. One of these triathlete-type races that top men, top women. The man won by 5 hours, 18 minutes, and 57 seconds. In fact, he went home and took a nap before getting his award. He slept for exactly 5 hours. Then he got up and picked up his award. It's very demeaning to women. It's very unfair to women. But together we will defend our cherished American heritage. We will defeat America's enemies. We will unshackle our magnificent destiny. We will return American astronauts to the moon, and we will plant our flag someday soon on Mars. For almost 250 years, our nation has stood as an inspiration to humanity and proof of what American faith and courage can achieve. It's amazing what's happened, especially what's happened over the last year. Our ancestors won our independence, vanquished foreign armies, and conquered wild frontiers. They fought perilous battles, crossed jagged mountains, and in the middle of empty deserts, they built gleaming cities like Phoenix, Arizona. Have you heard of it? Right from a desert, generations before us poured out their blood, sweat, and tears to make America into the most exceptional nation the world has ever known. And today we are making it more exceptional than ever thought possible, than ever before. With your support in these midterms, we will continue this momentum and achieve total and ultimate victory for America. We will fight, 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 and win, win, win. And together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much, Arizona. Thank you. Thank you. Win those midterms. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Well, that's President Trump doing the thing. I gotta put the schedule together for Coffee with Hooligans. I was out walking around, and I made it home just in time to realize that President Trump was on stage. I was like, oh, I think Trump's live. And I turned on the live, and he was standing there talking. And I was like, oh, okay, so I gotta put the schedule together, but we will be live with Coffee with Hooligans in a couple hours, and then we will be doing the voice chat over on jeffmaclive.com. So get yourself a membership for the website so you can join us for the voice chat. It's always a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Sandra's Library, for the bits over on Twitch. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. I'm going to drop this link really quick. Let me see. Here we go. So here's the link where all of my links are listed. So if you'd like to make donations, join membership programs, or purchase any merch, really appreciate it. Love your guys' contributions. Keep us running every day except for Sunday, because you got to have a day to recharge those batteries. Definitely go join Discord. Discord is our free hooligan community. It's the best way to be notified every single time we go live. The hooligans are there keeping the conversation going 24/7. We have 2 news boards to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world. So definitely go join Discord. If you're feeling real saucy, go join jeffmaclive.com. Over on the website, it is the best way to experience the live. Our built-in chat has more ability than any other platform. You can post memes and GIFs and custom emojis and links and all kinds of stuff right there while watching the live. You also have access to Hooligans Alley, which is our private social media area. You have access to the forums, the arcade, the Hooligan AI, and our advanced messaging system with the built-in group chats. So definitely go get yourself a membership for jeffmaclive.com. Stone with Hooligans. Like I said, I got to get the schedule together, and then we will be live again with Coffee with Hooligans. Hit the like button on your way out, and I'll see you guys soon.